What's up, you guys? It's your girl Shay here, and I'm back with another video for you guys. And as you can tell by the title, I'm talking about fan fiction, and not just like a story about fan fiction, but fan fiction websites. Now, the reason why I decided to talk about this topic is because I recently gotten back into reading fan fiction. I'm not gonna say like what particular genre or subject of fan fiction I started back reading again, but let's just say I'm back to read fan fiction. So with me reading fan fiction, before originally when I started off reading fan fiction, there was only like, well actually there was quite a few different sites for fan fiction. There was Media Miner, there was like LiveJournal, I know a lot of people wrote some on there, and of course you also had Tumblr. But the biggest one was fanfiction.net, and that was actually the site that I used all the time whenever I read fan fiction. It had every single topic you could think of. It had crossovers, and the website was really cool to navigate. And then once they came out with the mobile version, it just put everything to a whole new level because you could read fan fiction on the go, not just read it on your computer. Nowadays though, there is actually another behemoth that has came out, and that is Wattpad. Now, I found out about Wattpad by me watching a lot of What's on My iPhone videos, and a lot of people had Wattpad on their actual device. So it made me want to download it and see what Wattpad was all about. Now, the one thing that Wattpad has on fanfiction.net is that, well, first of all, it had a mobile app at the time. And also, it not just had fan fiction, but it had stories about celebrities and people who just made stories themselves, not using characters from already pre-existing books, movies, or TV shows, but just characters that they've automatically came up with. So it was like a whole new genre of fan fiction, because it wasn't just fan fiction, it was like all new original stories. So now my question is, which site is better, fanfiction.net or Wattpad? Now, for me personally, sometimes for nostalgia reasons, I do like fanfiction.net, and it is the first site that I actually go to when I'm looking for new fanfiction. Fanfiction.net also at this current time, and also like a few years ago, now has a mobile app that you can actually download onto your device. The only thing I can say is that I feel like I don't know how to say the atmosphere, but I feel like the actual app itself can be kind of hard to navigate. It's definitely nothing like the website for fanfiction.net, so it can kind of throw you for a loop when it comes to you looking up your favorite books, movies, and TV shows and trying to read a different fanfiction about them. But it is still pretty cool to navigate. The one thing that I've always kind of ran through with issues is like when I find a story I want to read, I click on it and it just shows me like the picture and comments. It doesn't actually put me into the actual story. Also, it kind of had me with some issues with me knowing at one point which stories were complete and which ones were not. This was kind of remedied with them actually putting on their complete, or like a little C to show that it is complete. And of course, you can also change your like settings to where you can only be shown complete stories. Now, when it comes to Wattpad, they also have this as well, but I also feel like with Wattpad, their mobile app is a lot harder to navigate, just like fanfiction.net compared to their site. Now, when you go on Wattpad's site, you can actually search for hundreds of stories, and it also gives you different like genres or topics to pick from, whereas on Wattpad itself, their genres and their topics are fairly limited. Like, if you click on fanfiction, it doesn't give you any like other categories within that. It just kind of starts recommending you fanfiction stories, but it doesn't have any like genres. Like if you want to read like a Naruto story or a Vampire Diary story, or even like even within that like anime, movies, books, similar to how fanfiction.net does it, that just simply is not there. So only way you can really find the fanfiction that you want to read is literally by searching for it. So if you want to read like Avengers fanfiction, you have to type in literally Avengers to get to Avengers fanfiction, which can be kind of frustrating. Whereas with fanfiction.net, you just put movies and they have Avengers already right there for you. Other great thing is that what I like about fanfiction.net is that they actually have, you can actually see how many stories are actually written about the particular topic that you actually want to read about. And whereas I feel like with, Wattpad, they don't really have that. Also with fanfiction.net, you're also able to actually put in within the like topic that you choose, you can put which characters you only want stories to appear. So you can actually narrow down your search within a genre, within a topic, super easily, which I actually really love. So if you're looking for like Bleach fanfiction, which like I only want to read Ichigo and Orihime fanfiction, you can do that and you can say that they're pairing. Whereas with Wattpad, you literally have to search Ichigo and Orihime fanfiction and hope you get all the results that you want. But only other thing I feel like really going for fanfiction.net that's kind of kept it kind of in the ranks is that it's free. Fanfiction.net is still a very free site. It's very free of a mobile site. There's no incentives. Yes, there's ads, but what app doesn't have ads? Whereas with Wattpad, they do have a paid subscription that you can pay for. I don't know the price because I refuse to pay for Wattpad. I don't use it that freely enough for me to actually feel like I need to pay for it, nor do the ads that are in between. They don't bother me whatsoever. Now with Wattpad, what they do is as you're reading a story, at a certain point, it will say, hey, before you get to the next chapter, a small video will play. Basically a video plays and you can go back to reading your story, which is perfectly fine to me. But it's just, I don't know, it just kind of puts a weird taste in my mouth, the fact that you have to pay for this. But I guess it's because it's supposed to be supporting authors and the authors themselves who come up with original stories that aren't based off of already pre-existing books, movies, and so on and so forth. So for me, which one do I have to choose over the other one? Honestly, I don't know. It honestly just depends on what I'm actually searching for. So to me, if you're someone who's strictly just trying to read about pre-existing characters and having authors come up with them in different situations, then fanfiction.net might be your way to go. But if you're someone that wants to explore more within fanfiction, more than just the actual pre-existing like story itself, but also just like the actors that actually play these characters and the fanfiction involving them, then you probably might want to make your way over to Wattpad. Now, as far as like, do I feel that the writing is better on one site compared to the other? No. I feel like both fanfiction.net and Wattpad both have very bad authors that write super bad stories and super cringe stories at that. Are they still exciting to read? Kind of, if you're looking for that kind of thing, you just want something to laugh at. But they both also do still have authors that actually make really, really wonderful stories. The only thing I can say though is I feel like Wattpad is a little bit more kiddish, I guess, a little bit compared to fanfiction.net. I feel like fanfiction.net is a little bit more mature per se, but I feel like that's only because with Wattpad you can actually add in like pictures and stuff like that, and sometimes the pictures to me can kind of dumb down the story itself, especially when you're including people that are actually real life people into the stories, because it just makes it kind of weird, I guess. But anyway, that's my feeling about both of these sites. Like I said, I still use both of them depending on what kind of stories I'm looking for, and also depending on if I can't find something on one, then I'll look on the other one. At this current time, I'm reading stories off of Wattpad more so than reading them off of fanfiction.net. That's only because of the particular topic that I'm currently reading on, which, let me just say, I'm reading Avengers fanfiction because right now I'm in a total Marvel hype right now, so I'm reading tons of Avengers fanfiction, and I feel like on Wattpad they have a lot more different criteria of stories compared to fanfiction.net. And maybe this could be because fanfiction.net is an older site, so a lot of people have probably jumped ship and have gone to Wattpad because of it has more creativity or artistic creativity compared to fanfiction.net. But I still feel both sites do fulfill a particular purpose. What about you? If you're a fanfiction reader, which site do you prefer? And also, is there a site that I haven't talked about or didn't discuss that you like going to? I know there used to be a whole bunch of different fanfiction sites. Like I mentioned, they had Media Miner, and of course there was LiveJournal. There was also Tumblr at one point that people like to write fanfiction on. And there was another site that I actually used to read from a lot, and that was actually called Shomaru and Kagome. It used to be just literally a fanfiction site of just the Shomaru and Kagome stories, which I actually used to read from there kind of a lot because they were like the pairing I really, really loved. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Of course, I'll leave links down below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, my blog as well. And of course, like I always tell you guys, please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because if you're already here, you might as well subscribe. And of course, I also have a link to my second channel, which I talk about positivity, meditation, and stuff like that. So if you're into that kind of thing, check me out on there and subscribe there too, because like, what are you thinking? You might as well subscribe. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Like I always tell you guys, stay positive and be nerdy. All right, you guys. Bye.